what we've got and get something done for the betterment of everybody in the community. Is there somebody else that I cut off here? Yes, ma'am.
If we could get back to the medical for just a minute.
Sure.
Dr. G and I think Edwin both have been saying that there is difficulty getting an urgent care here because of P-cell. Is that true?
I haven't heard that, but I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not sure why, because they don't have a dog in the fight, so I don't know why they would care.
I've heard that as well.
But the problem with an urgent care is that's not the solution. An urgent care is just that, it's an urgent care. And our problem is we have sort of medical during the day, but we don't have any at night. So if you were willing to, if they were willing, somebody was willing to build an urgent care or use one of our existing buildings and staff it at night and integrate with our daytime medical care, then we might have a solution. If we just want an urgent care that's going to compete with our current, then that's probably not a solution. And so those are the things that we would flesh out when we get into the strategic plan under the medical issue, because we would identify the needs, and we'd identify solutions, hopefully, and that's what the whole thing's about.
What our resources are that we have
Where
available.
our resources are, how would we go get a doctor? This is where you answer your questions that have come up tonight. You don't do it in a town hall meeting. You have to do it piece by piece, and medical happens to be a very important piece to a lot of people.
Can I ask you, the group, about recreation? The survey results so far, again, that's probably about half of what we've got so far that we've tabulated. Had, I think it was 57% of the community would like to see the restoration of the Willamette Activity Center. Did I butcher that? Is that's correct? Did you reference? Yeah, okay. Okay. I'd like some feedback. I mean, the only negatives I heard about Willamette Activity Center in the surveys was maybe it's not the best location, some of those things. Maybe it'd be cheaper just to tear it down and build something new. What's the community's, what's your feelings about that? I just would like.
You may not think it's the best location, but it's probably where it's needed the most.
Okay.
I'm very for it.
Okay. And it's
And
been.
I think I mentioned at the last meeting, Stan, researching into a Boys and Girls Club.
Right.
I think that would be a perfect setting for that. And that includes a paid director and whatnot. So there's a little bit of research needs to go into that. I've done some basic research on it.
And we've worked on those, so
Yeah.
if that's what the city council decides, one of the things they'd like to examine, we'll drill down on that, yeah.
The WAC has a lot of structural issues that have to be solved, so a Boys and Girls Club coming in may be able to help with some of that. But one of the other things that I think that we need and maybe could be put in the WAC, goes along with medical, is a physical therapy location somewhere within there. And the reason I say that is because I have a lot of members of my congregation who go to Springfield, Eugene for physical therapy 3 to 4 days a week. If we had something that was here, could be tied in with the Boys and Girls Club as far as machines go, then could be opened up as a physical fitness area in the evening after the PT's done and after the kids are gone, then that could work several issues all at once, and the people wouldn't have to go into town to get their PT done. The PT folks could come out here once or twice a week or whatever they need to do, and we could multi-use an area rather than just have it focused on one thing only.
Right.
And that's because the WAC has got a lot of good stuff and a lot of good area to it.
Just a quick question, does Wayne Community College train physical therapists? Could we
That was
get them
one of the
involved?
things they were talking about, expanding the curriculum, because, and I was,
Yeah.
you know, so they
They
were
could
talking
come
about.
out here and do their internship there too. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to mention that the WAC has entered generational opportunities that are really paramount for the development of our community. The elderly and the young, they come together. And it's really important for this community.
And that's part of
Look
it.
at the hearts and souls of people who walk down the streets of Oak Ridge. They're disillusioned and they're disheartened. We need to help.
That's why I was thinking of physical therapy going in there too, along with the senior center that's there, that could tie in together with those to help the seniors out.
So, Yes, ma'am. Was that, I was raising my finger?
I didn't put my hand up, I've got a mic in my back. A conference centre.
Conference center?
You know, we have so much beauty here. And there is corporations that are looking, and I'm only saying that because in the last couple of years I've had inquiries about, do you have a conference room?
Sure.
I wish the hell I did.
You know what? Oh, go ahead, Leslie.
There is so much to offer.
Sure.
I mean, you've got, if they don't have accommodation, or if it's a building, whatever, that can be renovated into a conference room or a conference area. You've got motels that could pick up the people that stay on the conference. You've got restaurants that could cater for inside catering and them going out catering. There's so much to offer on a conference. You've also then got trainers and different people coming in. And what you've actually got is people coming in. And when the people come in, then they go out and they say, hey, we went to a little place called Oak Ridge. It was fantastic.
And the reality is,
Word of mouth, and you're off.
the reality is that if somebody stops for an hour, they spend about $8.50 per capita. If we can keep them for 24 hours, they spend about $130 per capita. And that's going into the small businesses' pockets in the community. So we all benefit. Yes, sir.
Eric Staley, that just bought the Westford Lodge over there, he had a group of folks come in, and they were all into mountain biking. They were medical device salesmen, 8 of them. And they had such a great time. They're going to come back, and they're going to invite other friends, and that's exactly what Elizabeth is talking about.
Exactly.
A little conference center or something like that could even add to that.
Well, Rockaway Beach, we did a city hall, medical facility, conference facility, all as one. The interesting thing about that was that the business community, Rockaway Beach has more rented beds than any city in Tillamook County. It's hard to believe. So they said, let's do the transit room tax, let's increase that and commit those funds to pay for our community center, our convention center. So they wanted a convention center. I couldn't call it a convention center because we couldn't fund it if we called it a convention center. So it became a community center. And your WAC is already a community center, and it could fit that. We could set that up to be a conference facility as well.
Okay, so let's talk about my passion. When the library came in, I wanted extra rooms that I didn't think the library could offer because, and I apologize that I'm in that building and I'm not getting back to the grant. But I am writing a grant for this community for a 3D printer. I think that is the wave of the future. There is no 3D print. It would be associated with the public library so that if someone wanted to build a prototype, they could build it for $60 rather than $10,000 or whatever it takes for a prototype. And it would train our youth. Suddenly they have a job that's marketable still.
Yeah, cutting edge technology, you bet, yeah.
So I apologize that I'm in construction, but I will get back to that as soon. But I would hope that the WAC Center would have a place for that.
Okay. So let me ask you another question here, since your city government has been, we all know the history and we all know that where we are today. This number of staff and the number of resources in City Hall have been significantly shrank since 10 years ago. In order to accomplish some of these things, it's likely we're going to have to increase personnel at City Hall to some degree. So I want some feedback on that because we're down to a skeleton crew, and I don't know about how many streets we get paved. I don't know how much additional, how much more public safety we get with the existing number of cops we've got. Give us some feedback on this. Yes, ma'am.
Well, I'd be happy to volunteer for a lot of opportunities that we've mentioned. Just give me free water and food.
Okay.
I mean,
That's not volunteering.
Yeah.
Right out my water and sewer.
that's not volunteerism.
And that's illegal.
Yeah, it's also
I'm
illegal.
saying that you can compensate in other ways than dollars.
Yeah, that particular one, you have to treat everybody the same, so they couldn't say, okay, you're a volunteer, so they'd have to figure out a different compensation strategy than that, but.
Well, no, but
You
I
get
I think
the point.
she's on the right track. We
Right.
need to volunteer. There's a lot of skills
Right.
in this town.
That's
You
it,
know, there's-
you're right.
There's nothing wrong, you know, with, I'm more than happy to go down and use the telephone.
I just want to do it for free water and service.
Okay, okay, well, I like
But
the
it's
idea of
illegal.
volunteering, there, yes, sir.
There was a movie recently, one of these saying, the movie was showing the
Yeah. Well, then I
I
want
think people will really feel that way about most of the stuff you're talking about. If you want them to support this, you're gonna have to get some jobs, you're gonna have to promote recreation, you're gonna have to get something going that actually shows that you're making progress. Because until you do that, until somebody can see some progress, they're not gonna want you to spend any more money than what you're spending right now.
Sure, sure.
Then we can see
So,
some.
sort of a catch-22, you know?
Sort of, almost, but not quite.
Okay.
Because their opportunities are out there.
I've done a lot of research on towns similar to ours who have come back from economic upheaval. And there are plenty out there from the west coast to the east coast that will model our community and help us to build the resources we have in our community, which are the people. The people here in Oak Ridge will build Oak Ridge.
They were the ones that built it in the first place, yeah. It's still the
And
people.
it happen, and it's not gonna cost as much dollars as everybody, and we don't need to rely on extraneous government to help us in this community make it happen for us. We can be independent of that.
Well, I think John said it best earlier. It's a beautiful place. I think we need to sell it better.
Right.
I know we've made a lot of progress over the last few years with the mountain biking focus and whatnot, but we can still do a better job of selling what is in the area and the lifestyle that's available.
Yeah, you guys got
I
$1
mean,
million setting, there's no
There's-
question about it.
You
so.
know, I lived in the valley, and Jerry and Joni lived elsewhere for years, and there's tons of people, and for some reason, we've all came back here. And I mean, there is a reason for that.
Clean air.
It's a
fresh
beautiful
water,
place.
Fish in the river.
Yeah, low crime, all those good things.
Yeah.
So, are there other things that people feel compelled that they need to let us know relative to these issues? Because the next step is to go through a work session with council and get these things prioritized and put the steps under them so we can get the draft done of the strat plan so you guys can see where we're headed. Yes, ma'am.
I feel compelled to say that we have the capacity to be bigger than we've ever imagined through the work source, the people that we have here.
Okay.
And we don't need to rely on people telling us that we need to make a dollar to be people here and live comfortably in Oak Ridge.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else have anything for the good of the order here?
I brought it up the last time, and I mentioned it at the Lane Act meeting last night. It's important to, and I think the council's well aware of this, preserve what infrastructure we do have and look at avenues to help us do that. A discussion came up last night, and it showed, in this region, they've spent $21 million or budgeted, ODOT has, for bike trails. That's great, but some of that money could be dedicated to restoring that bridge going into the industrial park, for whatever may come in there someday. It would be a shame to see that disappear.
Right.
That's a tough one, because you've got, those are expensive.
Yeah, bridges are
Things we-
not cheap, yeah.
But it's more expensive to let them go away because it takes away an opportunity.
Right, yeah. Well, let me emphasize again that this is still in the very middle part of this process, that there's that there's going to be an opportunity for a lot of citizen involvement in this throughout the whole planning process. And we're not gonna, I mean, the council is going to adopt this sometime in fall, and I'm sure that the council is not gonna adopt this until the citizenry has had a chance to review it and comment on it. So I know there's lots of frustration here tonight. I can feel it. I think that the process is somewhat designed to frustrate people because it gets everything out on the table, and that's what we're trying to do. Is trying to lay out a 5-year picture. Like the gentleman said here, we have to know where we're going. Anyway, if you don't know where you're going, any map will take you there. It's nowhere. So.
One other thing with the recreation, and even that railroad spur into the old mill site, someday, that could be a destination resort that Amtrak could pull right into,
Yeah.
I know there's been work on getting Amtrak to stop here again, but
Yeah.
I mean, there's
Yeah.
things we just you have to make sure you don't let them go by the wayside.
Right. Well, anything else that anybody would like to contribute here?
We just want to thank you.
Hey, don't thank me. I'm here to help you. So.
I'd like to thank Stan and his group for the efforts that they're putting in. It's not an easy job. I've worked on strategic plans and other places, and it takes a lot of heads thinking about things to come together. And it's easy to live in the past, but it's hard to look toward the future, and that's what we're really trying to do, is look toward the future.
Thank you, Jerry. Thank you all of you for coming out.